And the President, can you talk a little bit about the semiconductor tariff you posted on Truth Social today? What is the timeline for that? And I believe it was Jameson Greer said today that those will not be negotiable. Once those tariffs are in place, they're non-negotiable. Is that right?
But the tariffs will be in place in the non-distant future because, as you know, like we did with steel, like we did with automobiles, like we did with aluminum, which are now fully on, we'll be doing that with semiconductors, with chips, and numerous other things. And that'll take place in the very near future.
And all the things.
And what we did is we want to uncomplicate it from a lot of companies because that's really where it should be, ideally. And we wanted to uncomplicate it from a lot of other companies because we want to make our chips and semiconductors and other things in our country. And I will tell you, another one is pharmaceuticals, drugs and pharmaceuticals. We want to make our drugs in this country. And by placing a tariff on the companies that are not in this country, they're going to move into our country and we're going to have our drugs made in the United States. So that in case of war, in case of whatever, we're not relying on China and various other countries to supply us with drugs, which is not a good idea. And it'll happen very fast. It'll all happen very fast.
These all rate the semiconductor tariff.
I'm going to be announcing it over the next week.
Tariffs on things like iPhones, tablets.
Well, that's going to be announced very soon, and we'll be discussing it. But we'll also talk to companies. You know, you have to show a certain flexibility. Nobody should be so rigid. You have to have a certain flexibility. And we're doing really well, and financially our country is going to be stronger than it's ever been.
So some products there's flexibility for some products?
For some products, yeah, maybe.
Can you say what kind?
So I'll be announcing it in the not-too-distant future, but it's going to be separately announced. Christopher, is any reaction? Very much like if you look, automobiles, we have a tariff. Nobody's complaining about it. Went through the process. We have the tariff. Steel, aluminum, and some other things. So, and by the way, our country is taking in billions and billions of dollars on those tariffs.
What is your message to markets tomorrow? There's some ambiguity, or at least some questions about whether there were.
There shouldn't be ambiguity. We have a tremendous country. We have a country that's much richer today than it was a few months ago. We have a financial system that's very respected. And we're going to do great. And we were taken advantage of and ripped off by every country all over the world, almost, just about. They laughed at us. We were run by foolish people. And they took advantage of our country. And we're just not going to let that happen.
In terms of the big, beautiful bill,
Right.
when do you expect that to get done?
Well, I hope soon. The big, beautiful bill. It's the big, beautiful tax cuts, really, and regulation cuts and many other things. It passed its first test, as you know, the last couple of weeks, but particularly during last week, where we had a vote. We won in the House, we won in the Senate, and that was a big chunk of it. And now they're going to eventually take, pretty soon, a final vote. And the big, beautiful tax cuts and regulation cuts and all of the other things that are included in there will go into effect. And I think it'll be probably the largest tax cuts in the history of our country.